When the former world's second-ranked golfer and a player whose phenomenal final round putting took him to this year's British Open joined the contentious LIV Tour headed by Greg Norman and supported by the Saudi government's PIF, he confirmed one of golf's worst-kept secrets. Prior to switching allegiances, Smith had been in the news consistently, and when he eventually parted ways with the PGA Tour, it came as no surprise. However, when he eventually decided to break his silence over the PGA Tour LIV Golf controversy, you could tell he had had enough, and things were about to get ugly. Why do we say this? Stay tuned to find out. Did Smith confirm golf's biggest secret? When the Open champion confirmed his move to the Saudi-backed breakaway circuit, he became the highest-ranked player to make the switch as he made his debut in Boston, the fourth event of the inaugural season. Prior to the confirmation, speculations surrounding Cameron's PGA Tour future became more pronounced during the final men's major of the year. Apparently, he had refused to deny rumors linking him to the Rebel League in his winner's press conference, and with reports ahead of the FEDex Cup playoffs stating he had sealed plans to switch. It was somewhat obvious that golf's biggest secret was about to be leaked. In a chat with Sky Sports, Cam was ready to cop some heat about his future in the course of the FedEx St. Jude Invitational, with the 2022 Open Championship winner completing the PGA Tour season before announcing his move to LIV the day after finishing the FedEx Cup campaign 20th at the Tour Championship. What this signifies is that with all LIV Golf members suspended indefinitely, Cam has lost the right to participate in PGA Tour events. The Australian pro golfer was also ineligible to represent the international team at the President's Cup in September and subsequent events. In an interview with Golf Digest, Smith admitted that it was a business decision as money was a significant factor, and he'd have more time for his family. Money was a factor in making that decision, and I won't say that wasn't a reason, said Smith. It was a business decision, and I just couldn't ignore the offer. Smith continued, "The major reason for me joining is the league's appealing schedule. I'll be able to spend quality time at home in Australia, which is something I haven't been able to do, and getting that part of my life back was really appealing." Cameron added that he loves LIV's team format, as he had previously missed rugby league games and weddings back home in Australia due to his previous tight schedule. Now, he had the chance to play in a more flexible tournament and decided to jump across. Now that you know one of the reasons he jumped across, how about you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more exciting golf content. Cameron takes a dig at the PGA Tour. When Cameron cited those reasons for quitting the PGA Tour, for a while, it kind of sounded generic. Almost every golfer who crossed either cited the huge paycheck or the ample time they get to spend with their family as reasons for making the move. The PGA Tour is getting one shock after another, with the first coming after he defected to the Rebel Series after a historic win at the Open. Just when the tour was recovering from the loss, the man started talking back. Cameron criticized the tour, saying the scheduling was brutal. Yep, you heard it right, brutal. That's the word he used to describe it. He also stated that the tour's setup wasn't something players really enjoyed. At some point, he had to leave his home country to keep himself competitively relevant on the tour because he believed one couldn't compete effectively by basing himself outside America. The way it has been is that you have to be over here in order to keep your PGA card, be competitive in the FedEx Cup, all stuff like that. To be honest, it's brutal, said Smith. He also added that he got better at golf because of the personal time he got at the end of the season, which he used to develop his skills. Although he managed in the last couple of years, right now it seems pretty impossible. You can infer from his conclusion that LIV Golf was a lot more comfortable. According to him, he'd only be busy for some months, and after that, he'd be able to focus on himself with enough personal time. Could the PGA Tour schedule be that brutal? Brutal is a harsh thing to say. If he had said the schedule was difficult or something like that, it would have sounded like one of those things. But when he said brutal, you just know that he had had enough. But here's what you really need to know. The PGA Tour's 2022-23 calendar is packed with over 47 events planned over the period. LIV Golf, on the other hand, expanded its season to 14 events over 4 to 5 months. So, a player on the PGA Tour would be committed all year long with less personal and family time, or even time to rally from one event venue to the next. Although most of the events are set to take place in the United States, it'll be stressful. The word brutal could be a little extreme, but the tour calendar is pretty strenuous. Another reason the tour schedule feels brutal to the Australian is that the PGA rarely plans events in his home country. Of all the defectors, Smith seems to be the only one to have given in-depth reasons as to why he couldn't continue on the PGA. I don't mean to judge LIV or the PGA, but Smith has a point here. Smith has been vocal about the issue and even called it a big plus since he'd be able to play in Australia. He wasn't too certain about the venue for the events the next season, but he was pretty sure some would be held in Australia. Imagine traveling to the United States for events, having less personal time for yourself, and still feeling like your country is being overlooked. And then another tour comes on board, organizes professional golf tournaments at less popular venues, conducts fewer events, while offering a hefty paycheck. I bet you'd grab the offer. Well, that's a comfortable situation Smith found himself, and he just had to opt out of the PGA. What sort of future does he have? Fans weren't going easy on the former world number 2, as most of them ridiculed his decision while maintaining that he heeded the wrong advice and allowed greed to get the best of him instead of his passion for the game. After winning his first Chicago tournament, the criticisms wouldn't end. According to reports, Smith had signed a deal worth $143 million. So after winning LIV's 5th event by 3 strokes to earn $4 million, more than the $2.5 million he banked for winning the Open Championship in March, Cam hit out at those who opined he would lose his competitive edge due to the money on offer. "I think I just had to prove myself and some other people that I'm still a fantastic player. Of course, you know I'm out here to win golf tournaments," said Smith. "I'm proud of how I hung in there today. I don't think I had my best stuff the first 8 or 9 holes. Still, I stuck it tough and made a few good putts coming in. It was really nice." At least Smith had to get that off his chest, but he still had to deal with some scolding from a fellow pro golfer, Gary Player. The 9-time major champion was among those who criticized Smith and other players for joining LIV, labeling the breakaway league a tour for players who have lost confidence they can be winners. When asked about Cam's defection earlier this year, Gary told the BBC, "How do you think you can ever be a champion playing on a tour with just 54 holes and no cut? I mean, what sort of tour is that? 54 holes with no cut? And a team event nobody understands?" The LIV is a tour for people with little or no confidence in the future of their career. They don't have the confidence they can be champions. It's never going to be compared to the regular tour. There's absolutely no chance. What they've done is declare war on the PGA Tour. He also expressed shock that Smith, a player with potential on the PGA Tour, would jump ship. "I was absolutely surprised to hear about Cameron joining LIV Golf. Here's a young man I thought was going to be a superstar, but with his actions, what sort of future does he have?" Now, it's up to you. What do you think about Cameron calling the PGA Tour schedule brutal? What sort of future does he have on LIV? And if you've enjoyed our video, you definitely want to check out which PGA player will join the LIV Golf Tour next. So click this video on your screen right now.